Hey guys, it's me Rena from Snailworks Crochet, and today I'm going to be making something out of thrifted yarn. I'm about to go out with my friends and we have plans to check out a couple of thrift shops as well as a local craft thrift shop. And I will say I'm a little bit more focused on the crafting thrift shop because they have secondhand yarn there. And also a lot of unfinished projects and components too. So I was thinking my goal is to pick out yarn from the thrift store and maybe some granny squares and make a granny square blanket for donation. I think it would be really cool. I'm gonna have to dig through to see if I can find just acrylic scraps there because a lot of places that take donations don't want wool because you can't wash it. That's my primary goal that I'm going to set out today. I also happen to have a bag of yarn and miscellaneous craft things that I also plan to donate there, including some already pre-made squares of the brunette blanket granny yarn and some velvet yarn that I hate. So my goal is to fill this bag with thrifted yarn and thrifted granny squares essentially. I also realized I need to add in some knitting needles in there because I think I over-ordered a couple of knitting needles. So let me do that real quick. I might add this in there too because I ordered a Lego cherry blossom set from my company rewards points and I never built it, and frankly I don't want to anymore. These I accidentally ordered 3 of. Got my donations? I guess let's go. Okay, I am back and I have regressed into comfy clothes. Let me show you my haul. I actually have quite a bit, a lot. We ended up going to multiple thrift shops today, not just the crafty one, and there was some shopping. I actually got 2 things of clothes and my friends did some clothes shopping. I also donated a lot of things too, both my crafty stuff and regular stuff too, so it was nice to just get that out of my place. So before we went to the craft thrift shop, we were at a regular thrift shop, and I actually found some yarn at that regular thrift shop. I ended up finding this at that thrift shop, and I was like, well, this will be good. It's worsted weight acrylic, and worsted weight acrylic was exactly what I'm looking for. Now at the crafty thrift shop, I filled these 2 bags full of yarn, so much yarn. I spent so much money at this thrift shop. It's kind of insane. To highlight, I grabbed 2 skeins of Karen 1 pound. I think someone had just donated this, and I think this is going to be the border color of the blanket I want to make. I also found this. There were actually 3 skeins, but I held back and only picked up 1 skein of this yarn. I picked it up because I know this yarn. I'm very familiar with it and I know how to use it. Another thing I will say about this thrift shop is called the Creative Reuse of Pittsburgh, and the entire premise of the shop is that you donate things and then artists will come in, pick some stuff, and then create art with it, right? So they take basically anything and everything. When you walk in there, it's kind of like an episode of Hoarders. I saw a whole bucket of just plastic utensils, okay? And when I was digging through all the yarn scraps, they even had snipped off ends in bags, okay? There's that much stuff. And again, I was picking through worsted weight acrylic, right? So I picked up some small bags, some big bags, some full skeins, some not full skeins, so on and so forth, right? But there's quite a few things there, and if you are really into sustainable art or making art out of trash, and you happen to live in the Pittsburgh area, check out the Pittsburgh Center of Creative Reuse or Creative Reuse of Pittsburgh. I don't remember the exact order of name. I just call it Creative Reuse. And I've actually also been to a similar place like this in Colorado Springs. It's called Who Gives a Scrap. So if you also happen to be in Colorado Springs or just in the state of Colorado, look up Who Gives a Scrap. Because that's also a very similar type store too. So when I went to Creative Reuse, I was thinking I could find some half-finished granny squares because I remember when I first went to Who Gives a Scrap, they had a whole section of just half-finished granny squares, or just granny squares with the ends not weaved in. I was hoping to find something like that at Creative Reuse, but I think that only was available at Who Gives a Scrap. I also think Who Gives a Scrap is a lot more selective of the things than Creative Reuse too. I'm being serious. I think they will take like people's old trophies too, which was pretty useful because one of my friends actually ended up buying one of those old trophies from Creative Reuse and repurposing it into like a makeshift trophy for a work thing. So there's a reason why they do it, you know? Yeah, they take anything and everything, and to the extent where I'm like, whoa, this is too much. But moving on. This bag of variegated yarn, here's a close-up of what it says. It will be easy to untangle. I can tell they're definitely joking. Got these bags right here of more yarn. This super old acrylic yarn, which, you know, seeing these yarns and seeing DuPont on the labels, I'm like, ah, yes, acrylic truly is a product of oil, you know? I also picked up this skein. There was this here too. A lot of people were donating Lily Sugar and Cream as well. But yeah, here's this. This one actually has a half-started thing in here, so I might actually base my project off of this depending on what it is. If not, I'll just undo it. This bag of blue, this bag of some whites and grays, this, and this. So I have quite a few colors and quite a few scraps, which is great because this is gonna be used for my scrap yarn blanket. And again, I plan to make this blanket and donate it. I'm definitely washing this before I donate it because, you know, thrifted yarn. The method behind the madness of why I picked acrylic yarn is, one, I don't have to worry about bugs and weevils and stuff like that because it gets a little sketchy there. You know, bugs and moths are not attracted to plastic. And two, easy to wash. I'm fairly certain that all the things I got are acrylic that can be machine washed and dried. So yeah, that's my haul. There is definitely a half-started granny square in here, though I might, I'm gonna have to undo these because this isn't matching the idea I have. Oh man, this person didn't know how, I don't think this person knows how to reinforce a magic. No, they didn't do magic ring. I thought they did. I would cry if they did. This feels scratchy. I can't tell if it's wool or not. Part of me wants to try burning it and seeing if it melts or not. I might have to do that with all of these, honestly, but I think with these bright colors, I don't think it's wool. It might just be really old acrylic. I might actually go through these and do the burn test on all of them because I have a lighter and, you know, why not, right? It might start smelling like burning plastic around here. Okay, I have done the burn test on all of the yarn scraps. You know what I did? I literally held the yarn up to a candle and burned the edge a little bit. Most of them were acrylic. I think there were only 2 of the yarns that were wool, and I had to not use that. Also, for those who are wondering what the burn test is, so I basically held the yarn scraps up to a candle, burned a little edge. If the general way you can tell if it's synthetic or natural is if the tip is a little bit melted and it kind of beads up a little bit, that's plastic. If it kind of burns easily and like the burnt edge is more like ash, that's wool. I also found out that wool smells like burning barn animals. So who would have thunk, right? Unfortunately, this one right here is wool. It was a really pretty color, but I mean, I had my suspicions about it being wool, so I'm not too surprised. I'm just glad the purple was acrylic, so. And then there was one other small scrap sample too. So yeah, I also took out the cotton that was in there. I think it wasn't too much, but I took out cotton too. So we should be good to go for making the scrap blanket. So the pattern I have in mind is something I've been eyeing for a little bit, and it is the Persian tiles blanket. I think I saw a short series by Callie Threads where she basically takes all her scrap yarn and turns it into the Persian tiles blanket, and she was crocheting all the pieces, all the components all at a time, essentially, all 16 at a time. So the thing is, because I have an unknown amount of scraps and it's not as straightforward in terms of the amounts I have, what I've decided to do is get a little bit technical with it. So here's my work in progress so far. So basically every time I make, a round, I weigh the yarn before and weigh the yarn after on like a kitchen scale to check to see how much yarn I use. I think these first rows use about 1 gram of yarn. These two colors here, that uses about 5 grams of yarn because of all the treble crochets. I think I just finished row 7. So I still have quite a bit done. This is like halfway done of the Persian tiles. So it's a very big blanket and it's a very elaborate blanket. It's also a very colorful blanket, and I think it would work really well with scrap yarn. And I think the final size is supposed to be like lap sized too. But yeah, there's like 16 of these big octagons, and I think about 12 of like regular granny squares, and then there's like 9 triangles, and it all comes together with the border. And then basically what I'm gonna do is I will finish this first, record how much yarn is used. I think I'll make the square motif too, also calculate how much yarn it's used in that. And then what I will do afterward is then I'll start kind of banging out all the rounds, like 15 centers, and then do the next row of like 15 of the second row, and so on and so forth. So that way I can kind of, So that way I can kind of get through it quicker and just mix and match my colors. And I'm really excited to see how this will turn out. Hi, so it's been way too long since the last time I updated you on the progress of the Persian tiles blanket, mainly because I've been working on other stuff and I haven't been actively working on the Persian tiles blanket. Now, let me show you my progress. I made one small triangle with the ends not weaved in, and I'm supposed to make 4 of these, so it should be fine. And I just finished one octagon. I gave up on tracking the yarn. I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just gonna go off the vibes. What I decided to do to kind of tie everything all in together is that these last 5 rows, I have decided to do black, white, this brown, white, and then brown again. So that way I can tie all of the colors together and it will have some sort of cohesive look. Now I just gotta make like 15 more of these, 3 more of these, and 9 granny triangles and 12 granny squares. Hi folks, it's been a hot while since I last checked in, to the point where I am now filming this on Vlogmas. To be fair, I don't know exactly when this video will be finished, but it's a long while since I first started the video, at least. But let me kind of explain what I've been doing. So I have been working on all of the rows of the Persian tiles blanket one by one. I'm gonna do the octagons first. I've just been, switching colors and making the octagons essentially all at once. So here's the thing where I'm at now. So obviously, as I've been like making, all these all at the same time, I have like varying amounts of each color, and I don't want repeat colors. But the thing is that, because I have varying amounts of each color, I actually don't have as many color options as I initially thought for some of these. So because of that, I'm going to have to get more yarn. Here's the thing I'm debating on. So I could either, you know, buy more thrifted yarn, either get it secondhand, Facebook Marketplace, Etsy, you know, thrift store, or whatever, or I could use yarn from my own stash. And that's where I kind of debate now because it can go either way. I definitely have a lot of acrylic yarn that could be used for this and would look great in this. And I could probably get more reliable variety too. But also, is yarn from my own stash considered secondhand yarn or thrifted yarn? Not really, right? So that's where I'm on the fence on. I might, you know, make the move to do that like after the holidays, especially once I start running out of colors. I still have a decent amount of colors now, but especially as the octagon gets bigger and bigger, I'm going to have less and less color options to pick from. I definitely have enough colors for like, you know, single crochet rows right here, but the rows that require a lot more yarn, I have more limited amounts of. So that's where I'm at right now. So y'all know how I bought that one skein of the Red Heart All-in-One Granny Square yarn? Well, I have proceeded to take it all apart and separate it out by color, and I'm able to use bits and pieces of the different colors in the Persian Tiles blanket. So far, in terms of how far I've gotten, I kind of can't use this anymore, but I did a little test swatch. Well, swatch is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. But I did a little test recently, and I found out that the blue color, which is the second color in the granny square, is enough to actually make one of these fans. And considering that I plan on doing all the fans the same color instead of half and half like the pattern says, I counted, there's about 8 squares left in here, and I am pretty stoked that I can have this as my fan color, and it also means I can use way more colors for the octagons and not worry too much about not having enough colors. Hey guys, so I have actually made the executive decision to split this video into parts. So I was kind of debating with myself over and over again on whether I should split the video or keep it all in one video, but I've made the executive decision to actually split the video primarily because the Persian Tiles blanket is taking me a lot longer to do than I anticipated, and maybe I should have realized that by picking the pattern I picked, but it's okay, we're here now. I mean, to be fair, originally this video was meant to be a focus on, you know, taking yarn that I thrifted and then turning it into something, and well, I chose to turn that thing into a Persian Tiles blanket. So, yay! And I'm sticking with that decision mainly because I'm pretty far into it. I will be ending this particular part of the video here, and then the next video will be a continuation of everything I filmed afterward, essentially. So, thank you for watching the video. I hope to see you next time. Bye! This is all the stuff I have right now, okay? It's a lot. You know, every time I look at these colors, it's so chaotic, and they're like high-key kind of ugly. I'm a little concerned. I'm actually running low on white, mainly because, you know, at this point, it's eating all of the yarn.